everybody, welcome and a big happy new year to all of you guys around the globe, especially I know Australia is already in 2017. As for me, I still have to wait till midnight. 2016 has been a crazy year, not just in booktube but also in my personal life. I have talked about how I have bought a house. I graduated from my community college and now I'm finally in university. So all of that has really taken off for me and I have entered so many challenges, and I've also missed a lot on my booktube resolutions that I made last year, but I have really grown as a person on this channel, and I've also really grown to appreciate all of my hits and misses. I know that the first of the year was a really big struggle for me when it came to coming out with videos and also reading books. February and March I hit the worst slump ever, putting me way behind on my Goodreads reading challenge goal of 80 books by the end of the year. So far I've only read 60 books, and I'm hoping by the end of tonight it'll be 62. With my channel I've made lots of leaps and bounds. I've created a schedule, I have started reviewing books, and I feel like every day I am just growing and getting better and better as a person, especially with articulating myself on this channel. And I have made some really crazy, embarrassing, great, fun to film videos that if you have not checked them out, I strongly encourage that you do, particularly my Hamil Craze video, because if you are obsessed with Hamilton, love Hamilton as much as me and my friends do, definitely check it out as I reenact some scenes from Hamilton. Also, the playlist book tag, that was so much fun as I sing along to some of my favorite songs as I hit shuffle and choose books based on my feel for the song and the lyrics. I participated in the Booktubeathon for the very first time, and though I didn't win anything and I had some hits and some really strong misses with the challenges, I had a lot of fun just trying to put myself out there and think about new ideas for the challenges that they set up for those days. I also hit some milestones. There was my year anniversary for BookTube where I gave some facts about me, and then also I had my first 100 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for being so awesome and supporting me and being there for me. If you have not checked out that video, I strongly encourage you do. You will be surprised with some of this stuff that I let myself be subjected to in that video. And you can also enter to win a $20 gift card to Amazon. All you have to do is comment in the comment section of that video and you're entered. It's easy as pie. Another basis of this video is to really talk about some of my favorite books of 2016 and also my biggest disappointments in the books I have been reading. So I think I'm going to get into my favorite books first and then the disappointing books afterwards. So the first book that is in my favorite books of 2016, even though these are really in no particular order, I just went through my Goodreads list and chose them because they were particularly memorable for me and I know I really enjoyed them when I read them. So first up is The Immortal Rules by Julie Kagawa. This is a dystopian vampire story about a girl named Allison who gets turned into a vampire and has to grapple with those changes. Next, I am going with The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. This is a very trigger warning book. It is about a girl who gets raped and she has to come to terms with whether she's going to tell somebody about it or keep it buried inside. It follows 4 years of her life, and this book threw me out of my reading slump. It also made me get out of my book buying ban. Next, we have The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This is a really great thriller story, a mystery novel about a girl who basically is a little bit of a voyeur, and it comes to her attention that one of the girls that she routinely watches goes missing, and so she takes it upon herself to try to find out what happened to her. This is one of the first books of this year that has made me stay up all night reading. I stayed up until 4 o'clock in the morning reading this, even though I had to be to work at 7. It was a really great 12-hour shift, but this book was so totally worth it. Now we're gonna get into a book that made me cry the most this year, and that was Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. It was a very emotional roller coaster for me, and the fact that it was raining all that day really helped put me in that sad mood. I seriously still loved it. I'm really glad I read it. The next book on this list is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I can't believe I've waited so long to get into the Grisha trilogy, and I am on book 2 right now, and I love it so much. It is such a great concept, and I really can't wait to see the rest of Alina's story. And then I told myself once I finish the Grisha trilogy, I can start on Six of Crows, which I got for Christmas. The next book, which is what I am super happy I became aware of during the Diversathon, and that is If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo. This is a really amazing story about a transgendered girl who goes to a new school after her transition, and she really wants to be known as a girl, and she doesn't want her past to really get into the way of things. The sad part is, no matter how much you run away from your past, it always kind of catches up to you, and so it's really about accepting her past. And I feel like my love for this story only grew by reading the note to the readers and also the acknowledgements and all of that at the end of the book. Now, I only have 3 books left, and I haven't really been counting, so I hope this isn't too many. But next we're gonna go with The Diviners by Libba Bray. I haven't read a single Libba Bray book since the Gemma Doyle trilogy, and so jumping into this was amazing. It left me really nostalgic for her writing and made me remember how much I really love her writing style. And because it's placed in New York, there is so much diversity, and Libba Bray does not shy away from that diversity. She embraces it, and so there's a wide cast and a variety of characters, and I love this series so much that I really want to get my hands on the sequel next year. And the second story I have for you today is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. It's a really great, different story. It was a different format that I'm used to based off of files and emails, instant messaging, stuff like that, that I wasn't sure I was going to like the story, but I actually really loved it, and I finished Gemina just the other day, and I am very pleased with the series as a whole. The one that I do leave for the last one, number 1, really is number 1. It is my favorite book, favorite series that I've read this year, and that, my friends, is the study series, Poison Study, Magic Study, Fire Study, that trilogy by Maria V. Snyder. This book series has really taken me in under its wing and taken me by a storm, and I just love it so much, even though my first concept of this book was completely different from what I had originally imagined it to be. It is so great. There's so much diversity, and each subsequent book has just made me grow and love the series so much more that I can't wait to read the other books, which is the Soul Finder series, which takes place 6 years after the events of this series. And now that we are done with talking about my favorite books of 2016, we're going to be talking about some of my disappointments. And that doesn't mean that I hated the book. It just meant that there was something about the book that really disappointed me and really tore me away from enjoying the story. And first, which is going to shock you guys, is going to be The Princess Bride by William Goldman. Honestly, I love the story Princess Bride. I absolutely love it. I love the movie, and the movie made me really enjoy this book because it expands upon the movie so well. The problem is William Goldman's commentary in between chapters. I can't stand him. I feel like he's an arrogant, completely rude, he's a douchebag. Like, I hate him as a person, and it really tore away from the story, and it made me not appreciate the story as much as I could have if he would have just left his internal dialogue away from the book itself. Next, we're gonna get into a book that has been on okay, maybe not everybody's, but pretty much everybody's disappointed list, and it's the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, part 1 and 2. I have to say that I love the nostalgia, I love the story itself. There was just a few tidbits that really, really disappointed me. Like, who Delphi is. I couldn't believe it. It was very unbelievable for me. And I also I didn't like how the trio just bursts into Hogwarts. I know that Hermione is the Minister of Magic, but like, it doesn't give Ron and Harry an excuse to also just blip into Hogwarts. So those were some really big disappointments, and I know the more I think about the story, the more it disappoints me. I really want to see the play. I think that this was really meant to be viewed as a play, and I know that reality for me is never going to happen, which also really disappoints me. Another disappointment that I had, I read Coexist. It is a fairy story written by Julia Crane. I absolutely loved her iFix series, so I thought I would really love Coexist as well. Turns out I was very wrong, and it did not help me in my February-March reading slump at all. The next disappointment, because I'm only going to do 5, is the Scarlett Johansson narration of Alice in Wonderland. I love this story, and if I just remove her nasally, whiny voice, I couldn't really put myself into Alice in Wonderland and the whimsical, like, crazy, quirky feel of the book because her voice was just so irritating and distracting. And last, even though I'm really not numbering these, this really does take the cake, and that is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. It wasn't a great story, and the more I think about it, the lower my rating goes. I think it was just so overhyped because I've heard a lot of people really like the story, but I've also heard that it's a love it or hate it type of a book. And me, I was in the hate it spectrum. It took me 2.5 months to read. I can't believe I didn't decide to not finish it and just put it away and just forget about it. But I just read it, and the sad part about me reading about it is my favorite character in the story severely disappointed me by the end of the book. It was just a really big miss for me. I really wanted to like this story, but I just couldn't. And I have to realize that we can grow as readers when we share our opinions of books, and we can grow that discussion of what we thought was wrong with the book or what we thought a book did right. If you guys have any suggestions on videos that you want me to do next year, please let me know in the comments down below. Let's open up this dialogue and really get talking about books and topics and discussions. Thank you guys so much for watching and being there and supporting me. I really appreciate it, and I am so excited for next year. Bye!